Hey everyone, welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture. I am your host, Andrew Davis. And before I introduce my guest, I would like to remind people of two things quickly. The first is that my comic book class is slightly delayed, but will be coming out at the end of October. And the second is that you need to financially support indie creators of all sorts of different types and different sectors. And whether that's this show, my guests' cosplays, or even corporate media. If you like She-Hulk, guys, you should go buy Disney and you should have a Disney Plus account. But again, the joke beyond the joke, you need to support people and you need to support them financially if you want to see their stuff getting made and further published. So that's the PSA of the day. I am not going to push any further onto that because I do want to introduce my guest. It is cosplayer Claude Xavier. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I am very excited. Obviously, I saw you, I think, on Cosplay Alliance, and they were reposting something from Instagram. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. And I saw a bunch of your cosplays. And I'm like, hey, let me reach out. And so here we are. And before we get into some of your cosplays, and I'm going to miss a bunch of them, I would like to thank you for your service, first and
Thank you.
foremost, as well as I am curious how you got into cosplay because that's, I think, the most interesting part of you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm a Army veteran. Did just under 4 years. Got out in 2001. I know I look young, but I'm not. I'm old, falling apart. 43 years old. I have 3 kids who keep me very busy. If I'm not doing cosplay, which I'm going to get into, I'm a data center network engineer. That's my day job. So
There's nothing
yeah.
wrong with having a day job. The
Oh yeah.
richest people in the world have day jobs.
Right. And I'm hoping one
Statistically,
day I can leave it.
seriously.
Right.
The 1%, if you really want to get to the 1%, having a day job and staying in your day job for 35 years with a 401k and max out your 401k will make you worth like $3 million.
Right. Right.
It's
You're right.
crazy.
It's just the getting there. That's the
I'm learning it. I'm 4 weeks into my job, 4 weeks
yeah.
into my new job, and I looked at all of it and I've calculated it's great. But enough about that. This is not a
All
financial
right.
step. Clearly, if it were, it would be a very different attitude here. I am curious though how you got into cosplay because you are 43 years old. You're an army
hmm
vet. Your job doesn't exactly scream cosplay. And
No, it
so
doesn't.
how did you get into it? Because it's so interesting
Yeah.
how good you are at it.
No, thank you. No, I got into it through friends, of course. Actually, I remember going back to Star Trek conventions in the '80s. I mean, I had my first taste of it. So, we'd go there for all the Star Trek fans, and they'll have the movie trailers, and then then it morphed into this big thing. So I had got away from it for a little bit. Of course, I went to the military, got out, um, watched little anime shows here and now, no, every now and then, but just busy with life. And then around 2018, I ran into some friends who were big into it, and so I decided to go with a few of them to this mall. They was having a back to school event, like a school drive. And when I saw the kids' face light up when their favorite character came into the room, I was like, I want to be a part of that. That's what I want to do. And so I had went to a Comic Con here in San Antonio. It was a Halloween edition. I was like, what am I going to wear? So I couldn't decide between the pirate or a vampire. So I said, I'll just do both and I'll be a vampire. And so I go as this vampire. No one knows who I am, but yet people stop to take pictures of me. And I was like, man, this is fun. They're this welcoming to even want to take pictures with me anyway. And so that's how I really got into it. And I started meeting people who design costumes. And that's how I got into it. Just jumped in there. Um, I really hit it big. Well, I guess big in my mind. I when I did Aquaman, that's the one that put me on the map. I think I might have had maybe. I'm pretty sure I still had under 1,000 followers. And when I did that, it blew up. And Sci-Fi Channel reached out, which I thought it was a joke. They hit me up on DM. I'm like, this is not real. And so I'm like, oh, this is real. so, and so they interviewed me. I still to this day wonder how did they find me? I mean, because I had to be lost in the sea. because I said I had less than 1,000 followers, and they invited me over to their Fan Creator Friday series over the summer. And so yeah, I did that, and it just full speed ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna even talk about that. Let's dive into that because obviously that's kind of the one that I saw, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh man, that's super dope. I was showing pictures of it, and so what was it even like to do Aquaman? Because obviously it's DC. I think it's one of the better DC movies, to be very
Right.
honest.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing against. I mean, Aquaman and Suicide Squad won. I mean, it's
Right.
not that hard of a position. Birds of Prey versus Aquaman, it's not that
Yeah.
hard of a position. The Batman movie was good. It was just long. It was just
Right.
long.
Which I haven't
Um,
even seen yet. That's a crazy
it,
thing.
it was it was long. Let me just put it a different way. If you go to the bathroom during the middle of the movie, and then you may or may not have a firsthand knowledge of that, yeah, you might need a bathroom
Yeah.
break or two or three. Just say. It's
So
like a
don't get the
3 hour.
large soda, basically. Okay.
But 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 it's terrible. It's just terrible. But what was the inspiration for the Aquaman? Because it really is a cool one. It's
Yeah.
very straight out of the movie. I feel
Right.
it's a really cool cosplay, and obviously I'm going to throw up the picture here. I mean, this thing looks like it's from the movie. You
Yeah.
look like an Atlantis warrior,
Oh,
if
yes,
that
indeed.
makes any sense. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
Aquaman, it could be an Atlantis warrior, but it looks what it's supposed to look like, and it looks pretty well done. So, what was the story behind that, and even how it came up, and all that stuff? Because that's
Right.
kind of the one that I think got you a lot of attention.
Yeah. So this is like one of my beginning projects. So just got into it. I wanted to get a whole bunch of costumes, so I bought them. And I know there's a stigma out there about people. You
Mm.
need to make your costumes, and I tell people at the end of the day, we are grown people playing dress up. So if you take it that serious, there's some problems with you. And so yeah, so I bought that one, and I got into it because of Jason Momoa. Because before him, who cared about Aquaman? Aquaman was a joke. He was the the butt of everybody's jokes. And so Momoa comes along and makes him cool. I was like, oh man, I want to do that. And so I was like, you know what? How can I make it? How can I put my spin on it? Okay, well, I can use my dreadlocks as my hair and try to grow facial hair. And it actually pulled off. And I got really close to not doing it because I was fear of course, the backlash. Um, Aquaman's not black, so I almost didn't do it. And I did it anyway, and which I'm glad I did because I said that's how the sci-fi thing found me. And yes, I did receive those. Why don't you be Aquaman instead? No, I want to be Aquaman. I mean, the last time I checked, he wasn't real, so it shouldn't matter. But yes, I'm glad I really did because I almost didn't do it.
So there are two things I want to unpack here.
Hmm.
One of the things that I'm a strong believer that I did a few cosplays back in the day, maybe 10 years ago. I'm an anime guy. I'm
Hmm.
a big Gundam fan. I was, Amuro Ray from Gundam. And I had the costume made for me and it was slightly tailored for me and it was cool and I love it.
Uh-huh.
And it was great. And the way I viewed it is that I just wanted to have fun. I
Right.
wanted to be a character. I'm not going to go sit around and make a cosplay. It's not my skill set.
Uh-huh.
But I had a blast. And like I was seeing other people with Gundam and they were seeing me and we were having a good time. And so I'm a strong believer that does it really matter if you make it or you don't? I think the only time it matters is if you're competing. But if you're not
Correct.
competing, who gives a damn? Because you
Right.
still have to look the part. You still have to act the part. You still have to put a cosplay together. And let's be realistic here. I mean, even some of the top people don't make their cosplays.
Right.
I mean, nothing against Jessica Nigeri, and I kind of pick on her a little bit. But there's certain cosplays she hasn't made. There are people who
Uh-huh.
represent Blizzard at BlizzardCon who don't make those cosplays.
Right.
So I don't really understand the backlash. And I think that again, you hit it perfectly where you're grown people playing dress up. And isn't it more important that you're that character and
Right.
people are saying, I know who that character is?
Right. Yeah. The other issue I have with that is when grown people come to me asking me questions. I ask about the like as if the character's real. I expect kids to do that. I don't expect grown folks to do that. oh man, how'd you feel when Batman? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I expect kids to do that. And kids have caught me tripping a couple of times. 'Cause I didn't know the answers. I said, oh, I'm going to study, do my research for them. But when it comes to grown folks, I'm like, come on, man. That's you take this a little bit too far. But yeah, but yeah, I just love and the dichotomy of it all. That when you go to a convention, it's so loving. Whether you made it or not, people want to take a picture with you. Whether you're fat, skinny, tall, short, it doesn't matter. Juxtapose that with online, you get all this hate. I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's odd where people do not respond the same way in person
Right.
than they do at a on the internet, on Instagram, on Twitter. I mean, I get hate for certain things on the internet. You know, I ran a Kickstarter for this show, and the amount of hate that I got from some people, I'm like, well, you could just turn it off. I mean, you don't have to say anything. Now,
Right.
I think there are fair criticisms that can be said. And I think
Mhm.
there are certain things saying, hey, really like what you did here. I think that, I wish the scales were shinier. I don't think
Mhm.
that's a criticism, though, the
Right.
same way that Aquaman isn't black.
Right.
That is, in my opinion, thank you for stating the obvious. But like, that's not really constructive versus
Right.
saying, or I hate your cosplay. Like, okay,
Right.
like I don't get it. I don't get it. I
Right.
don't get why people feel like you can be mean on social media, but you wouldn't say it to my face.
Right. Exactly.
If somebody said, I hate your cosplay, Andrew, to my face, or I hate your podcast to my face, and they said it to me online, they get a pass.
Yeah.
Because
Right. They're being
they're
yeah.
consistent. That's the key. But that's another point that I actually you brought up too, is that what was even the backlash like? Because I think cosplay is for everyone. I really
Right.
do. I think it's supposed to be fun. Whether you make money in cosplay or not, that is up for the free market to decide. But if I
Right.
want to go as Amuro Ray and I don't necessarily look like Amuro Ray, or I'm a little bit bigger, or
Mhm.
I'm not as height, well, I could still do it. And
Right.
Amuro's white, but if somebody is Hispanic or somebody's black, they could be Amuro Ray. I mean, to
Right.
me, it's dress up. It's
Right.
wearing a costume at a con and you're embodying a character.
Right.
And so what was the backlash like? Because to me, that kind of seems weird too, where
Yeah.
it's like,
It actually yeah, it wasn't it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. 'Cause I think because maybe I pulled it off. But I said, but there were some. That's why I say I almost didn't do it to begin with, which why I'm glad I did. 'Cause it actually paid off. It overcame the negativity of it all. But like I said, but I had some that had more hate than others, but that one thankfully wasn't as bad.
yeah, no, I don't even understand why there would be such a pushback. Because to me, I
Yeah.
mean, these characters aren't real. I
Right.
mean, like, I don't know how to
Right.
explain that any other way. Like these characters aren't real. Spider-Man is not a real person.
Right.
He has real ideas per se.
Right.
What he represents is real. What Aquaman feels, people have felt, but at the same time, why does somebody care if Aquaman is white or black? I mean,
Right.
Aquaman could technically be black in the next comic if they wanted to do a black Aquaman,
Right. Right.
and they did it with
Yeah, like
Spider-Man, and it was awesome.
right. I mean, like I said, Momoa changed his whole look up. His hair didn't look like that. He grew a beard, he had all these tattoos. And so, I mean, you didn't have a problem with him doing it. And he completely changed the character. So it's, I don't know. It's just if they like you, then they can deal with. I don't know. Who knows?
And then even going further into this, and I do want to take a step out before we talk about Green Lantern. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I
Mhm.
have a Green Lantern power battery in case I need to be called by the
Oh
court.
wow.
Anytime they want to call me, I'm good. But it's a 1-to-1 scale. It's an awesome toy.
Oh wow.
With every penny, it lights up. It's great. It's got the ring. It's fantastic. It's an expensive toy now too.
Okay.
But it's like $700 on
Whew.
eBay. It's insane. You can't buy them. That's the problem. Is
Yeah.
that and no, it's not for sale, so don't ask anybody. Um, because I know somebody wants to know that answer. But how do you even balance cosplay as a cost and building? Because that's something that, to talk a little bit about inside baseball, that's something
Right.
that I think a lot of cosplayers struggle with. Um, and figuring out that and even figuring out how to build a cosplay and piecing it together because I think it's really somewhat tricky because cosplay can be expensive. It could also be cheap depending on how you're doing it.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, is it worth it? Um, you got to ask yourself, what is your return on investment? And so I have made a few people upset because they feel that I'm not a true cosplayer because I expect this to open doors for me. Some people go just to go to conventions and make it a hobby. I use it as a stepping stone. I'm hoping that it leads to something. I mean, if you want to be the local celebrity, that's great. I mean, I want to see myself do more in life and be better in life. So now that I became a professional cosplayer, since now I get flown to different conventions, so now I have to make them, which is fine. So I think I'm getting better. It was ex-wife at the time who was really building my costumes. And then once we got divorced, so now I have to do it, which is fine. And I didn't think I could do it. So I actually feel great that, I guess
So,
I'm not where I need to be, but I'm getting a lot better as far as
so
building my own stuff.
let's even talk about this because I hate the word professional cosplayer. I
Yeah.
hate it. And the reason why I hate it is that I don't have a problem with a monetizing cosplayer. I
Mhm.
find that the word professional is always a toxic word. So
Right.
when somebody says, I'm a professional, I operate my podcast in a professional manner, where this is, I treat it like a business, it is respected. I don't do some crazy, stupid stuff on my show per se. Obviously, I joke around,
Mhm.
have a good time, but this to me is run in a very, I guess, business oriented way. There's a
Right.
reason why I have a Calendly link. There's a reason why things are done in time slots. I think that the word professional cosplayer definitely sets up a barrier between people who want
Mhm.
to do it for fun. And then it
Right.
also sets up the people who are doing it or getting flown to cons. And look,
Right.
I don't have a problem with people making money. I'm a greedy capitalist.
Uh-huh.
Um, some people call me a pig. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind being called certain things, but I have a problem with that word because I feel like it creates a division. And also,
Right.
unfortunately, there have been professional cosplayers under that label who haven't exactly treated their fans well. I think
Correct.
there's horror stories, and also I think that word carries a very negative, position. And so,
Mhm.
to me, I think it's just a dangerous thing to say in
Right.
something that is supposed to be fun when you start doing that versus
Right.
professional wrestler.
Uh-huh.
Professional wrestler, professional wrestling is different than indie wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's just how I take it. But I get why people quote unquote professional because
Right.
you're getting paid or you're getting hired to go places.
Right.
Or it's a job or it's a gig. I get that. But like to me it's just a toxic word.
Yeah. I tell people that's why I always do it in quotes because it will probably never replace my income. I would love it to. I think because it's so saturated, like with a lot of things. So I tell people, you trying to do this for money, good luck. Because chances are it ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna make what you think you're gonna make. Especially when there's so many people out there. You had jumped in the beginning when it was fresh, is yeah. But now those days, all the
Yeah.
ones who are really professional, who really making the big bucks, if you're not doing it for fun, then
I would even challenge you on that. I mean, I don't
mhm.
know how much money these people are really making. I mean,
Okay. Oh, there. Oh, I mean, there's some who making 200,000 a year just being flown around, and that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to get to that level, probably slim to none. That's what I'm saying. It's too saturated. So you have to be doing it for more than that. If you are, I mean, fine, but you're not going to just be getting to that level. Is really slim.
but also there are other things that are going on with those people. A lot of those people who are making that money also have OnlyFans. They have Patreons. I don't know if there's a male cosplayer who's making 200,000. There might be one or two, but I think as a
Right.
male cosplayer, it is a hell of a lot harder to do it.
Oh, of course.
Also, the other thing is that how long can that last for? That's the other
Right.
thing too, is that there gets to a point. I mean, this is what I do. I run a business outside of all this.
Hmm.
I have a day job, I do this, and then I run a third business. and my third business provides me a distribution that gets invested into the stock market, so that
Yeah.
when over the next 30 years, every year I'm investing, I'm going to be a rich motherfucker.
Yeah.
I got no problem, no problem stating that. And by the way, anybody can do it. It's not a secret how to do it. It's
Yeah.
actually literally in 5 minutes on YouTube, you can figure it out. Um, but I think
Right.
the other thing too that a lot of people don't understand in cosplay is that this is not forever.
Right. And that's why I tell people this is a stepping stone. That's why people get upset. Oh, you're not a true fan. Well, then I'm not a true fan. Then, because I said I'm 43. I got 3 kids. This is a stepping stone for me. I'm hoping that it will. If this led the door open to Sci-Fi Channel, it can lead a door to Marvel. It can lead a door to DC. That's how I look at it. And so even if I'm not doing conventions, I'm actually doing nonprofits. So I'm actually going to hospitals as characters are doing, all the different nonprofit organizations. So I don't stop at conventions. The reason why I also got noticed is because I don't look at small cons. Oh, everyone's going to be there. Well, okay, but the right person might be there who can get you somewhere. And so because I didn't go in there with this heady, no, oh, that's too small, I'm not going. I went to a whole bunch of them, whether it was at a big convention or a little hotel. You never know. It's all about networking because my focus was bigger than just putting a costume on, which is what gave me these opportunities.
It's interesting because opportunities are complicated, and obviously you don't know who's going to watch what and when they're going to see
Right.
it. And I think relationships are a very complicated discussion for a lot of people. And I mean, I know a lot of people have a nice big phone list of a lot of people that people say, how do you have access to people
Uh-huh.
that normal people don't have access to? And there's a reason why certain people and certain companies answer my email within 2 days. And so when I want something, it's not that hard to get it anymore. And this is the problem when I ask people, I'm like, so you want to be on my show? What can you bring to the table?
Mhm.
When people hit me up, I'm like, what can you bring to the table? And that's something that I think people have to understand is that, it's a very different world now. But I
Right.
digress. But also, again, you said it perfectly. It's the right person. It's not the many. It's the right person.
Right.
I
And
mean,
I
but,
had
but I
kind I
digress
yeah.
right
Yeah, I had
there.
kind of went off, but I know you asked me about the money. I kind of got off on a tangent. But yeah, like I said, is it worth it? Like I said, it can get very expensive. I mean, like I said, so what are you trying to do it for? Um, so with me, I don't spend a lot of, like I said, it's not going to replace my income. So I don't see the point of me making a $2,000 suit that's not going to give me the return on my investment. And if I had money like that, fine, but that's just me. It's me. It's not that serious to me. It is an escapism. It is something to do. Like I said, if I had a choice, I would choose the hospitals every time. Yeah, it's free. I don't get paid, but I made an impact in that child's life. I remember when I went as Black Panther to a hospital visit, and this girl saw me from way down the hall and asked the nurse if I can come in. But she was in ICU, so I couldn't go in there. So I had to stand at the door and to watch this girl's face light up. I mean, that made my day. What she's going through, sitting in the ICU, but yet she saw her favorite character just walk by her room and stand at her door. To me, that's better than any convention. So it's just all about what you're doing it for.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously, I started this for a lot of reasons. Again, you said it really well, where this isn't exactly a stepping stone, but it's a brand. And
Uh,
so, whenever I want to write a comic book, I now have a show. Whenever I want to launch a product, which I'm launching one at the end of October, I have a platform to do it. And I was already doing it for 7 years before, but now when COVID hit, I expanded that platform. And the saying is that me and a friend of mine were talking about this the other day, where cool, you come on my show. Do you have a show? And can I come on? And person's like, no, I don't have a show. And I'm like, okay, but you need to have a show because that's what matters now. I feel
mhm,
where you need to have a platform, otherwise you're relying on everybody else's platform. And
right,
so I don't want to say this is a stepping stone, but it's a brand, it's a platform, so that whenever I want to push something out, I
uh-huh,
have guests and I can do it. I can push my guest stuff out, and then somehow I'm thrown into the mix somewhere down the road. And I
Okay.
think it's a big deal at this point where it's just like that's kind of what it is. And but
Right.
I digress. And yeah, so pretty much. But anyway, I want to talk about Green Lantern because Green Lantern's
Okay.
way more fun than this. This is your Green Lantern. I think it's John Stewart, right?
Yes, John Stewart. Yes.
So
Yep.
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure. So what's the story behind this one? Because this is very interesting to say the
Oh
least.
yeah, John Stewart with locks. So that's my thing. I try to see what way I can, I can put my locks in to make it mine. So I first started off with oh Lord, his name is escaping me right now. Uh, the
Simon
original.
Pace,
Oh God,
Hal Jordan.
that's it. So I had his at first, and then I'm like, oh okay, there's a John Stewart suit. Yeah, so I switched out, bought that one, especially because it didn't have any gloves, so I love that. I didn't have to worry about wearing a mask. Um, yeah, so Warrior Post Photography is the one who took this picture, did the edits. That's probably one of my most requested as well. Yeah, that one, the Aquaman, the Bishop was also a big one. Um, yeah, but like I
Yeah,
said, my
yeah.
thing is I wanted to have a character like in every media, every genre. Because I like
Okay,
to do,
so
yeah, I like to do different, be a part of different groups. So I didn't want to be typecast either, especially when the Aquaman took off. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to be known as the Aquaman of San Antonio.
oh
You
man,
know,
see this is interesting. This is actually super interesting because nobody has actually ever brought that up where you have a cosplay, it does really well. It does well on Instagram, it does well at
mhm,
cons. Obviously, sci-fi is paying attention to it. You get a feature in Cosplay Alliance or Cosplay Magazine. And now, people say, I want to do that all the time. Or some
yeah,
people say, I don't want to. Like, nobody's ever said to me, I don't want to do that anymore. Or I don't
yeah,
want to be known as the Aquaman guy. I mean, I don't know if you know Labanak slash Mangaloo, I want to say her name is.
mhm,
She's great. She's sort of a friend. But she is known as, and arguably, I think she's one of the greatest Ruby cosplayers ever, like Ruby Rose
okay,
from Ruby,
uh-huh,
WBY. But I think she's been typecasted. And while she's breaking out now, I think it is very hard given the fact that you have almost 80,000 Instagram followers and Ruby is great and you're
right,
probably one of the best, if not the best, but you're typecasted. And that's a
right,
problem. Like, I don't want to be that on this show of being, oh, Andrew only interviews comic people. And then there's the reason why I do wrestlers and cosplayers and voice
uh-huh,
actors because I don't want this show and me to get stale. So what
right.
is that like for you? Because that is fascinating, I think.
Oh yeah, like I said, I want to be versatile in everything I do. So I have a DC, I have a Marvel. Still working on the Disney one. I haven't got that one yet. I'm working on my first Star Wars. Going to do Quinlan Voss. That's all I plan on doing, working on that now. But yeah, I just want to be able to say, hey, we're doing this group. You want to be a part of it? Yes. We're doing a Bleach group. Okay, I got Kaname Tozen. Just whatever it is, try to be a part of all these different groups. So to stay versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And since we're on Marvel, I figured out we will talk about it. You got a Gambit,
Yeah.
which haven't seen one of those in a while. Obviously, Spider-Man right there. Got this right here. This is just trippy. This one's just trippy. Um, I'm looking for my Rubik's cube still.
Oh,
Yeah, that's funny right there.
oh yeah, that one also. Oh, the people love. Well, yeah, the Spider-Man: The War. I mean, because when I first saw the Into the Spider-Verse coming out, I said, "Oh, I got to get that." So I made sure I was one of the first people who did it. And oh man, that was a banger. Yeah, the
So this
uh-huh.
is what I've been pushing Marvel for. I don't really read much Marvel anymore. I don't even read much DC. I read a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog, to be very honest.
Okay,
And Sonic the
okay,
Hedgehog is amazing. I think it's just so entertaining. And they take the idea of an all ages comic and you can make it dirtier in your mind. And
yeah,
I gotta tell you, they should do like a mature rated Sonic the Hedgehog There is so much material to do at IDW, and I think they would make billions.
Oh yeah,
Seriously, I think so many people are like, this is ridiculous, and I want to read it. It's
yeah.
great. I'm also pushing for the Scooby-Doo Resident Evil crossover. I, it,
Oh, yes, indeed.
I put that up on Facebook, and I said I would write it for free. So I'll write that for free. I will actually pay to write it. That's how
Yeah,
much I believe.
yeah. I
Um,
definitely
I
read
mean,
it. I'll watch it. Yeah,
I want to. I mean, now that the Resident Evil thing on Netflix failed, I'm telling you,
yeah,
I think that's what they should do. I think that's
yeah.
what they should do. Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix should just come together on a joint project, and then we
Right.
can have the gang in the Mystery Machine going into the mansion, and they discovering Albert Wesker and trying to uncover all of it. And they're trying to unmask people. Oh, it'll be epic. And they
Yeah.
try to unmask a zombie. Oh, it'll be epic. It'll be epic. I'm telling you.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you. The potential here is
Oh
is
yeah.
is
That'll work.
the amount of cosplay material that could be done out of
Oh
this.
yeah.
Oh, it would be epic. Like half Shaggy, half Albert Wesker. Oh, it'd be great.
Uh-huh.
And maybe instead of the T virus, it could be the W virus or the M virus.
Yeah.
So many things could be done. But
Uh,
anyway, going into that, I've been pushing Marvel for a while for this one. I want a Spider-Man noir comic. I think it would be epic. I think it
I
would be the
want.
greatest thing ever.
I want a live action because it would have to be, in my opinion, it had to be probably rated R to be done right. Because I mean, he was in what the 1920s and during gangsters, he shoots guns. And so not only does he shoot webs and cry walls, he shoots people. So that's not a rated G or PG movie.
I mean, it's the
PG-13
Punisher.
the least. Yeah,
It's the Punisher. It'd be great though. I mean, I think that a comic of Spider-Man noir, I think they could do it easily. And
yeah.
I mean, I think you would have to turn back a little bit, but I mean, I don't think you could drop an F bomb in that comic. But I sure as hell think you could shoot somebody, and it's the
Oh yeah.
1920s. It'd be great.
Right.
And then you could have like color stuff in there too, and you could almost do it like Frank Miller style. Oh, it would
Oh
be epic.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
It'd be epic.
Exactly.
It would be so good, and I think it would make them so much money. See
Yeah.
that's the key there is that right now those companies need cash injections, and
Right.
why not give somebody what everybody wants and they're
Hmm.
willing to spend money on? That to
Right.
me is the answer. But I don't know. And then you also have this one right here, which is cool, super
That
cool.
one. It's like that's how Miles. They call me what Jacked Miles Monroe. Because I used to compete. Used to do men's physique um for a few years. And so I pretty much kept my size. And so yeah, so it's kind of like basically bringing that character to life.
So look, you talk about that because obviously that plays into the Aquaman. It plays into a little bit of John Stewart. Obviously, it plays into Miles Morales and everything he is. There's a few other characters. Obviously, taking a step outside, it plays a little bit into this as
Uh,
well. The White Ranger from Power Rangers.
yes.
So not that one. That one you don't look as Jack, but that's Domino.
Right.
But what is that like? Because some people get fake muscles, but you have real ones.
Right. Right. And people like I tell people I can go months without going to the gym. They're like, "You're lying. You got to be in the gym." I'm like, no, because I don't juice up. It's natural. So when it's natural, it doesn't go away that fast. And so yeah, it's yeah, so that's good. I'm like I love to hear it. Like when I did what was it? King Grayskull 2 years ago for MegaCon. And yep, did that one. And I was actually more ripped because that's like an older one. But I was like, I really got lean for that one. And I get a lot of comments. I would hear women say, "Do I do parties?" I'm like, I hear that a couple of times. I'm like, there's something else. Or they might say, "Is your abs real? Is your chest real?" Okay, just say you want to touch me. Just say it. It's all right. So yeah, they are hilarious.
So they even talk about that because obviously, when you're fit and you're jacked, I am not that way. I am a little big in my stomach. I'm not. I don't think I'm unhealthy, but
Yeah,
I've lost a bunch of weight, but I'm not all the way there yet.
yeah,
Um, at where I would like to be. You know, I would like to be leaner than a pint of ice cream. Let's put it that way. It's so bad. It's so bad. My favorite wrestler, she comes out there where she's leaner than a pint of ice cream and taller than a stack of pancakes. It's great. It's great.
Who is
Her
that?
entrance is great. Solo Darling.
Okay.
She's fantastic. She's absolutely fantastic, and she is scary as fuck when she's jacked.
Yeah.
She is jacked. Like
Wow.
she looks jacked and
Yeah.
talented, beyond talented. Arguably, I think that she was in her prime, maybe
Okay.
like before COVID. She was in like the top 50 wrestlers, I think, in
Oh,
the
wow.
world. She's that good. She's that good. But anyway, I digress. I get distracted way too easily. Um, but anyway, what is that like? Because it does add a layer of authenticity, I feel, to cosplays when you're
Right.
playing characters that have muscles, you're jacked, you're kind of eye candy to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nothing against you. I hate to like sexualize you in that fashion here,
Right.
but like,
It's a double-edged sword because like they say cosplay is for everyone, but then you come out fit, they think you did it for that costume. Oh, you trying to now you making everyone feel bad because they don't look like you. I just walked in the room, but I didn't make anybody feel anything. You
don't
know,
worry. I only met you just today, and you made me feel horrible. So clearly,
oh man. No, yeah, like I said, it's crazy. There are some I do try to get in shape for, but it's for me. I
well,
think I want to
would you
look good for
feel
this part.
that that's a them problem and not a you problem? Because I'll give an example. People are shy, right?
Uh-huh.
So when I'm doing a panel, like, I don't feel bad if somebody says, "Man, I got a great idea, but I just can't do it." I'm like, "Look, if you can't do it, you can't do it. I'm not gonna go steal your idea, but I'm rooting for you." But not everybody
Right.
can be on a panel and have stage presence and be excited and not be
Right.
nervous. I
Right.
mean, not everybody can do a show like this. Not everybody can host one of these things. A lot of people are terrified of public speaking. And while
Right.
there's a lot of podcasts, I could tell you there's a lot more people want to do it than are doing it right now because
Mhm.
it's terrifying. But I don't feel bad because
Right.
somebody isn't capable of doing that or doesn't have the confidence or the skill level. And if
Right.
me, by speaking right now, makes somebody feel bad, I'm like, well, that's a you problem. But if you want to
Right.
do this, you want help. I mean, I'm here rooting for you. Like,
Right.
I don't really get that argument
Right.
of you
Yeah, I mean
being
it's
jacked. Like, you walk into a room and you're jacked and I'm not. I'm gonna be like, that doesn't make me feel bad. It doesn't
right.
make me want to go to the gym either. But that's not the
Right.
point. I don't feel bad. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel any less of a person. Like,
Yeah. Or they might say you only got these opportunities because of where you look. There may be truth to that. I mean, it's just society. I'm sorry. I mean, take that up with the world. I don't know. It just you have women have privileges, men have privileges. I mean, it is what it is.
there's a concept where there are privileges that you're born with.
Hmm.
You know, just in your country, if you're born in the United States, you have certain privileges that you do
Right.
not have in South Africa. To,
Right.
to, to, to put it just point blank, the greatest privilege is that if you get kidnapped and you're a United States citizen, the FBI will negotiate on your behalf to get you home. Whether
Right.
they're successful or not, that's a privilege of every American citizen.
Right.
That you, if you're born an American citizen, there's a reason why immigrant women truck and trek over in dangerous positions to have their children born on American soil. There's
Hmm.
a reason why. So that's a privilege.
Right.
Then
Right.
again, I have certain privileges where, you know what is, I hate to say this, but I have a disability. There are certain privileges that are granted to me because I have a disability.
Hmm.
There's also things that I do not have privilege to. And you know what it is? Guess what? There's other things that I have that, that I don't have. I
Right.
also work my ass off and there's earned privileges as
Hmm.
well. So I am very good at finances and I'm good at investing, but that's not a privilege. That's an earned privilege. Meaning I've worked
Right.
my ass off to learn it and devoted a lot of time to it. So when somebody says, "Oh, you have more money than me, Andrew," well, maybe I have more money because well, I earned it and I freaking learned a skill that makes me, earn more money.
Right.
But again, that's an earned privilege. So I don't get that. That just perplexes me why people would even think like that.
Yeah.
It's a very narrow
Cause they
thought
cause
process.
they want to be you. Let's come out and admit it. You wish you had this instead of trying to tear me down because you don't have it. I mean, hey, that's because I hear people like with the women who do cosplay. Like I said, they can put on little to nothing and get all these likes. Well, hey, that's what they can do. It is harder for men, but there are some things that are good for men that women can't. I mean, it just and plus at the end of the day, whether you look good, it's fleeting. It's not going to last. So I'm not gonna get jealous of you for something that's not gonna last. The looks are not gonna last forever. So hopefully
Yeah.
there's something more to you than your looks. Because you're
The-
gonna hit the
the-
wall soon.
I am not as attractive as some of these top cosplayers. So what did I have to do? I have had to learn a variety of skills. I've had to learn how to do this, what we're doing right now. And somebody might be like, "Oh, but this looks easy." I've had to learn how to do this in the last 10 years. And I am
Right,
starting to get good. Not great, good. It'll be
right.
another 10 years before I'm even great to consider that. And somebody might be like, "Oh, dude, you do a great job at this." I'm like, "Thank you." But again, it takes a while. But guess what? This is a skill. I had to develop it. I had to learn how to be somewhat funny or how to be charming or how to speak. I've had to learn how to build an eBay business because, again, I'm not pretty. I don't have a great
Yeah,
body. I'm
yeah,
not going to go out in a bikini and look
right,
good and get a million likes on Instagram. It's just not
right,
happening. But I could build a business and I get rewarded for that. And guess what? One of those skills will last for the rest of my life.
right.
Looking good in a bikini may or may not last for the rest of your life. I'm just saying.
Yep,
I'm just saying, and it's a reality. And I hate
right.
to burst people's bubbles. I hate to get you and me both canceled here. This this should really be called the canceled show.
You're
We
right.
don't pull punches on this show anymore. We used to. We don't
Yeah,
because there gets to a point where it's just like, and that's why, I take my money from my eBay business and I invest it in the stock market. I will have
right,
money when I'm 65. I'll
right.
have a lot of it. And then I'll buy my Ferrari.
Yes, indeed.
Nobody's
And like I said,
miserable on a Ferrari or on a jet
right.
for that matter. It's impossible. You cannot be miserable in a Ferrari because you cannot say the word miserable in a Ferrari because the
Right.
engine will drown it out.
Yeah, until it goes electric. It's getting there. But I actually finally rode an electric car. I didn't realize it was on when I turned it on. I was like, oh my God, is this thing even on? Um, no, but anyway, that was no, I was you were talking about branding. I said because when I first started, I started up under cosplay. Then I went to Claude Xavier, I think something cosplay, but now it's Claude Xavier style. Like I don't plan on doing this every. I'm not sure how long I'll keep doing cosplay. So under Claude Xavier's style, I have cosplay, I have modeling, I have acting. As you see in the booth, I just started voice acting. I took that up this past December. Done 3 audiobooks so far. Voiced a couple of characters for independent projects. Like I said, I'm trying to. It's a stepping stone. I'm trying to get places. Hopefully I can be in front of a camera, behind the camera. But got to put that work in. I kind of wish I could have got started earlier because it is harder doing that at my age with kids. So and then I'm in San Antonio. I just can't up and go to California or New York or
The
something like
voice
that.
acting capital, though, is in Texas. It's
Yeah,
Houston
Dallas.
and
Yeah, Houston.
Dallas.
Uh-huh.
And Dallas. Dallas, I think, is Rooster Teeth. And they got some stuff up there. I think, what is it? Shoot. Is it HD Live or is it wow, I can't think of who does is a Run to Pick Up Girls in Dungeons. It's I can't think of the studio because I think they're in Dallas and I know
Yeah.
Crunchyroll / Funimation's in Houston.
Right.
My understanding,
Right.
right?
Right. And they
I
want you
should
to
know
move
this. I
there.
should know this as like a voice actor, interviewer type of guy in an anime
Well,
weeb.
like I said, I just started, so I get a pass. So I'm still
It's a
learning.
failure on me, clearly. No, I'm taking the L on this one.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking the L. I'm okay with taking the L
Yeah.
on this one because I should know. The fact
Yeah.
that I don't is a problem. But yeah, so I do want to talk about the anime stuff briefly because you got your
Okay.
Piccolo right here.
Yeah. Another one that blew up.
That one is cool. This one's cool right here.
Yeah.
This is the Naruto stuff.
Yeah.
and then the tuxedo mask is kind of funny.
Yeah, I
But but
went
but
to Atlanta to do that one.
But yeah, so what is that like too? Because anime is only getting bigger now. I mean, manga is outselling graphic novels and comics. It's outselling a lot of things. It's a lot of cons are becoming anime cons, becoming more anime centric.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of reasons for it. Me and my friends in comics, we speak about it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Sony did not pay $1.2 billion for Crunchyroll for no reason.
Right.
They didn't pay 100 million for Funimation for no reason, and the fact that Disney owns the live action Dragon Ball stuff
Hmm.
and the film rights to any film that's in theaters is through Disney.
Okay.
I don't think the recording is through Disney. I think distribution is through Disney.
Yeah.
And they are now. I don't think they own Bleach. I don't think they bought the. I think they bought the rights to stream Bleach for a while. I don't think they bought Bleach out, meaning that it could go
Right.
somewhere else eventually. But what is this like? Because a lot of your cosplays, I think, in the anime sector,
Uh-huh.
can become more interesting. So what is that like? Because I don't know if that was intentional or you're just a fan of Piccolo.
No, like I said, I mean, I was just trying, like I said, I'm trying to be diverse. That's all it was about. Nothing, not because I'm a diehard fan. Like I said, once again,
It's
I
okay.
like,
You could be a diehard fan of Naruto and Dragon Ball Z because everybody is. They just don't want to talk about
yeah,
it.
that's, I mean, I'm just not at all. 'Cause like I said, I got back into it late. And people say, what are all the anime shows you're watching? One, maybe. I mean, like I said, my lifestyle has changed. I can't sit around and just watch anime all day. So when I do characters, it's sometimes because I just like how they look, and then I'll go back and learn about them. And so that's when I get the bangs and the negativity. Oh, you're not a real anime fan. You just like how they look. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're grown people playing dress up. I don't know
I
what
mean, I
part
mean,
that
I
you're
mean,
missing.
I can't argue with you because I buy and sell bad girl art comics.
Uh-huh.
About 50% of the time, I don't know a damn thing what's in the store. Now, I
Yeah.
know the book, I know the
Uh-huh.
company. It's also limited edition, so I know there's only 350 copies of that book out there. So,
Right.
and I know what the cover is referencing, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, or I know who the artist is on that cover, but I don't know who's in the book.
Right.
I,
Yeah,
I,
like I
I
said, I've been,
don't.
yeah.
But then I'll read it eventually in
Right. Yeah,
comicsology.
let's say that.
You know,
Yeah, I'll learn about the character eventually, but I can't tell you the ins and outs, and I don't care to know the ins and out because it's not making me money. Now
but
there
then
are,
yeah,
yes, I
there's
mean,
been
yeah, just some things I take serious and some things I don't, and it's
no,
just
no,
not
no.
on
I
my
mean,
high prior. Right, of taking. It's like
when
people who
I'm
come at me.
buying this stuff, and when you're doing a Piccolo, obviously you know who Piccolo is. You know
Right.
that to some degree he's a villain. You know that he's a Namek. You know that he's on the hero side.
Right.
You also have an idea who voices Piccolo, right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
so this is what I mean, where there gets to a point where you don't know that Piccolo has 14 different incarnations, has been
Right.
in 117 episodes of Dragon Ball,
Right.
and this, that, and the other. But again, at what point all that is, I guess, really, really fine details. But you need to
Right.
know that Piccolo was like the star in Dragon Ball Superhero. Like
Right.
that, you need to know. Versus, you need to know that Piccolo and Gohan have a relationship. Because if
Uh-huh.
you didn't know that, that's a problem, I feel. But you don't need to know that Piccolo's favorite color is yellow. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even if we take the relationship with Gohan and him, like I said, do you really have to? Like I said, if you doing it, like I said, go back to why are you doing it. So if you're doing it just as a hobby, you just want to play dress up, man, that's fine.
the reason why I
Um,
say it, and the reason why I say that is
uh-huh.
I think anytime you play a character, you need to have a basic fact sheet. So the fact that Piccolo trained Gohan, because if you see a Gohan and then there's a Gohan group, all of a sudden, you need to know that relationship because it's good
Right,
for business.
right,
It's
yeah,
not
just right, right.
you're
That's what I
you're not
mean. Right.
yeah.
That's me. Like I say, I know it's a delay. Yeah, I say if you just go into a con to go to a con, why do I need to know the relationships? I'm just going to a con to take pictures. That's what I mean. some people take it now. If I'm up here doing a podcast based on anime, or my whole picture, I'm like the um Claude Xavier Piccolo, and I can't tell you nothing about Piccolo. That's different. I mean, like I said, because I'm presenting myself as if I know everything Piccolo. Now
Yes.
now we got a problem. But if I just want to dress up as the guy, I don't have to know anything about him. Because when I get home, I'm taking it off. I mean,
Fair
just
enough. Fair
uh,
enough. I
so
have
right, right,
where when I'm selling Bad Girl comics, I don't know what's in the book, but I know who
right.
the artist is on the book. I know the limited run of it. I know how those books perform. I also know if it's a good cover or a bad cover. I know if it's in a series. I know if this is
Uh-huh.
book 2 out of 5. All that stuff. But I couldn't tell you what the hell's in the book. But
Right.
I know the information that is necessity to know. So for
Right.
instance, I think that if you're cosplaying, and I guarantee you, some of these top cosplayers, they probably don't know half the shit about their characters they're cosplaying.
Right.
And
Right.
but they look good in it, and it's
Right.
fun, and they're selling a print. But guess what? The people who do know this shit is the people like me, who when I'm
Right.
lecturing about Gundam, I know everything about Gundam, and people want to hang out with me afterwards because guess what? We're talking about Gundam for like 3 hours later. I'm standing, my
Right.
legs are killing me. I'm like, guys, can I sit down? Like, can we leave? Like, please, like,
Right.
like,
Like you
funny.
said. I
It's
said, yeah,
funny.
if you're doing a panel, yeah, you need to know your stuff. That's what I mean. Like, let's
Yeah.
say, why are you doing it? So if you're doing a panel, but you know nothing about it, then right, you're dead wrong. It's
But,
just
but, but
if
but
I'm
I
just
also
walking around.
But also, I think when you're a guest and you're doing Bishop, and
Right.
people come
You
up
need
and
to
buy
know.
your prints,
Correct.
you need to know that stuff, and you need to be well aware of that
Right.
stuff and things of that nature. Because, well, if you don't, there you go. But I
Right,
digress
and
with that.
right, like, 'cause you're right, 'cause then also that's where the quote unquote professional comes in because they're paying you to show up. They're paying you to help bring their convention to life. So that's where the professional part needs to come into play. You need to know your stuff. That's why they spent money on you. But if you just going to have fun, you can know, you don't have to know. But if you're trying to get to that level, then yes, you need to know your stuff.
Yeah, no, because it's interesting because obviously I think this is one of the things that people don't even recognize, and I think even if you're trying to get to that next level, you
Mhm.
need to know your stuff too, to
Right,
some degree. You need to start treating this as a professional position because
right,
again, cosplay isn't the end all. You look at
right.
all of these cosplayers. Jessica Nigeri, she's done voice acting. I
Hmm.
think Yana Han has a business.
Right,
Beyond that, and so I think that's something that is going on too that you need to figure out as
right,
well, and you need to treat it that way, where you need to treat it
right.
like a business. And so, what is that like for you though? Because obviously, this has led to other things for you,
Yeah.
such as and other things, because it is a stepping stone.
Right. Like I said, and that's basically what I treat it as because I have to hide that I have to have that mindset, especially like I said when someone's investing in me. They're bringing me in not because I look good. They're bringing me in because they think I bring value. So I owe it to them to know what they're looking for, how to make the convention good, the stuff about my character, because people are gonna come to my booth, want my autograph or have talk with me. Yeah, I need to know. Because you can even get blackballed. You think I want to go have my own booth, but then if the organizers don't like what you did, then they blackball you with everyone else because you just want to be seen. I said you gotta know what you're asking for, and so it's more to just hey, look at me, I got my own booth. No, there's some responsibility that come with that, and it can. I tell people the most important part, the most important thing you'll ever have is your name. Your name open doors, your name will close doors. People meet your name first.
There's
And
a
if
saying. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan.
mhm,
You know who the Undertaker is, right?
yes.
So the Undertaker said, the same people's whose toes you step on climbing up the ladder,
Mhm.
the same people's asses you're going to kiss on the way down. And
Yeah.
what he's going to and what he's getting at is that it's great. It's great advice for everything, technically.
Mhm.
So if you don't step on anybody's toes and you climb the ladder in a way that doesn't upset anybody, on the way down, you're going to go down the ladder the same way, and you're not going to
Right.
upset anybody. People are going to want you to climb the ladder back up again. And
Right.
it goes to the idea: what is your name? What are you worth? what did you say is going to happen? When,
Mhm.
I don't make any promises with anybody, but I say, look, I'm going to give you one hell of an interview. I'm going to put my best foot forward. And I think that's something that, is that a lot of people don't understand. I even think with some of these top cosplayers, I mean, even their branding is all jacked up now. I mean, I
Right.
hate to say it, but like when you're doing loot sets on Patreon or you're
Yeah.
going topless, I mean, at a certain point, do you want to be cosplaying or do you want to be softcore porn?
Right.
I mean, or do you
Right.
want to be hardcore porn for fuck's sake? I mean, and
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. I think some of these people realize that, hey, I don't mind pretty much shooting right to the tip of porn because, well, it's going to make me money. It's going to get me a bunch of fans. But then what happens 5 years later when you got a kid?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, because that shit doesn't go away. It
Right.
doesn't go away.
Right. That's why I say I don't live for the right now, like for that reason. And so I'm always looking ahead. And so the decisions I make now will affect how far I go ahead. And so I got to be careful. So
And I think you know what it is. I think that a lot of these people aren't realizing that 5 years from now you might have a position, you might have a moment saying, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that in my 20s." And now that I'm 35 and I have a
right.
daughter, what do I do?
Right.
Because I'm not saying don't do something. I'm just saying think about what you're doing. I
Right.
mean, because things don't disappear from the internet, decisions don't disappear from the internet, and things
Right.
change. I mean, this country in the last 20 years has gone through massive evolution. What
Right.
is the next 20 going to look like? And then you could say that in a million different ways. You could say on a technology level. You could say
Yep.
on a business level. You could say it on a work level. You could say it on a humanitarian rights level. I mean,
Right.
you look at it in 30 different directions. You could also look at it on a relationship level.
Right.
I mean, let alone on a bunch of business levels. So that's something that I think is something to pay attention to. But I
Yeah.
digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even going beyond cosplay, I mean, the voice acting stuff is interesting. Modeling, I think you're part of like a sports fitness, network.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're busy. You're really busy.
I try to be in everything. Yeah. Yeah. Like I
So,
said,
so
try to have doors
what
open.
yeah, what is that like really balancing? Because obviously voice acting is its own freaking entity.
Yeah.
I know
It
way more about that than anything else.
yeah.
I mean, I know about cosplay. I know nothing about modeling,
Yeah.
sports agencies. I know a lot more about voice acting. I know that it's tough. I know that it's complicated. It is not just acting in anime, guys, or cartoons. There's
Right.
books. There's the NBA. That's voice acting
Yep.
technically. Um,
Yep.
Sunday football, baseball is voice acting. When they do, all that stuff. So what
Yeah.
is that like?
Voicemail for a company. Yeah. Yeah.
Commercials
Right.
are
It's
big. I mean, you know that voice actors don't get paid a lot of money, right?
right. Right.
I mean, for I think a half an hour or an hour, they get like $44 on the low end now, and I think
Right.
maybe like 76 on the high end for an hour.
Right.
People might say, "Oh, but they're voicing characters," and it's great if you have 40 hours of work every single
Right.
week. It's a
Right.
great job. I mean, if you're making 50 an hour and you have 40 hours a week, you're doing good in life. I
Right.
mean,
Right. And that's it.
that's
Like you said, it's like with cosplay, even voice acting, it is oversaturated. And so you now getting into the game late like me, and you got all these well-known names. So if I'm thinking we're going from here to the Netflix or next anime, I mean, it could happen, but the chances of that happening, like I said, I have to put my time in. I got to put my dues in. I just can't think we're going straight to the top. I mean, that's
it's
not the norm for everybody.
it's also the idea that there's so much talent out there. And it's also the idea that even if you're at the top, there's so much competition. I
Right.
hate to say it, but nothing against, the cast of Dragon Ball Z or the cast of One Piece, but I think those people are replaceable. I really do. I
Right.
think very few people in anime are not replaceable.
Right.
And what's going on right now is Crunchyroll, bought by Sony, they're getting rid of people. They're getting rid of people. People are being pushed out and executives are being pushed out and people are getting replaced.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent gig. just because you're the voice of Vegeta and you've been doing that for 20 years doesn't mean that you're going to do it for the next 20.
Right. Right.
And you could be at the top. I mean, Chris Sabat or Sabat or whatever his
Right.
name is, he's
Right.
a great voice actor, but it could very well be that he is not Vegeta in another 5 years.
Right. Like I say, he's getting older. That's
It,
right. So
it could
it's
be that they don't like him at Sony, and they're
right.
like, "You've also become too expensive."
Right.
I hate to say
Yep.
it, and again, I think people are very replaceable. I think a lot of cosplayers are replaceable.
Right.
I mean, I hate
Which
to
is
say
why.
it. It sounds weird when you're saying a human's
No, yeah,
replaceable.
no, you're right. That's why I have Claude Xavier's style. So if the cosplay thing slow down, maybe the modeling thing will pick up. Maybe the acting will pick up. Maybe the voice acting will pick up. I just like to have different lanes open because I'm like I said, I'm a realist. This may not. I may have my 15 minutes of fame. It could be up in cosplay. So
There's a reason why and what I do, and obviously all of the businesses are separate. But I have this. I have a day job. I have an eBay business. Obviously, I'm getting my comic classes going to be coming, so that's 4 revenue streams, and I invest. So I have
mhm,
5 revenue streams, and the reason why is right now I'm having a little bit of a hard time, and I hate to say this because saying everybody sees this, I'm like, oh, can I be on your show? Um, right now I'm sort of slowing down with guests and I'm having a bit of a harder time and the show's not doing what it needs to do where I was doing maybe 3 months ago. But guess what is working? My eBay business is working and
mhm,
me investing is working. My day job's working. So you know
right,
what is in another 3 months, it could very well be that the eBay business slows down and this
mhm,
picks up. And
right,
so it goes in cycles. It could very well be that in 6 months from now, the entire investing world is messed up, which is probably going to happen.
right,
Which means I'm going to invest more money, but that's not the point. But the point I'm making is that when one thing isn't working, something else works if you're
right,
diversified enough. And I
right.
think that's something that people have to understand. I mean, I think that come July, I think cons are going to be worse off than they are right now. I really do.
Hmm.
I think we're going to be in recession, and I think it's going to be bad because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think what's going to happen is that it starts at the top where you get your A-list celebrity, and then they come to a con. The con doesn't make any money with them. They don't
yep,
bring in the fans. Then everybody else who's the B-list, the C-list, and the vendors and artist alley gets pissed because they didn't make any money because there was no
right,
foot traffic. It's already hard enough. Then the next con, that person says, "I don't want to come because I made no money, or I didn't
right,
make I thought I was going to make 150,000. I only made 75,000. I'm pissed. Or I only made 100,000 when 2 years ago I was making 150,000 for the
right,
weekend. Now I'm pissed. I don't want to come, which lessens traffic, which lessens more and more and more. And then cons really can't afford to pay these people. And there you go. Or people don't
yep,
meet the guarantees or a variety of other problems. And
right,
then you have slow growth because people have less discretionary income to waste on fun items.
right.
Which, because let's
Yep.
be realistic, nobody needs an autograph to live from somebody.
Especially how much some of these cost. Oh my god.
Nobody
Yeah.
needs a $20 autograph, even if, because guess what? If you don't have 20 bucks or things are expensive, nobody needs that. Those are
Right.
fun items. When you go to a
Right.
con, it is fun money. It is not bread and milk money.
Right.
And that's what I
Right.
think we're heading into. But that's just my thought. And I hate to say it, but not to be biased, but I think I'm right.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a slowdown. Maybe it's not going to be as dramatic as I'm describing it, but I really think there's going to be a slowdown because I'm just looking at the financial landscape and it's bad.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yep. So
Everything comes
pretty
out on
deep.
this show. Everything comes out on this show. Again, no punches are being pulled anymore. It used to
Right.
be that punches were pulled, and I think that's the other thing too is that I think some of these people just in cosplay just aren't real. The
Yeah.
name of the game is to make money.
Right.
And so if you're going as a fan and you like going to cons and you're not interested in making money, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But the
Right.
second you enter the professional realm, you have to understand that your objective is to make money.
Right.
As a fan
Exactly.
panelist, what happened to me, and obviously your path is a little bit different, but I started trying to funnel people into my social media. So when I do go back, I don't mind being a fan panelist, but I'm going to have a class and I'm going to be selling my class. I'm going to be purposely talking about certain topics because
Yeah.
I want to have a panel say, hey, if you're interested in this topic, I have my class. You can get it right now for the next 48 hours for 50% off. And so I don't mind speaking for free
Right.
if I get the opportunity to speak in front of a bunch of people. But I'm
Right.
not going to go speak for free. I mean, I'll speak for free on topics that I enjoy, but I'm not going to go to a con if they don't book that panel. I
Right.
will say, look, I'm canceling my other things because it doesn't make economic sense. And there's no justification. So I don't
Right.
mind talking about comic book investing and talking about 3 other things that I want to talk about at your con, but I need to talk about this. I'm going to connect them together.
Right.
So, and I'm going to say to a con, look, I got to make money too. So if
Exactly.
you want
Yeah.
me to come for free, I'll do X. If you don't want me to come for free and don't want to talk about that, I'm fine. But I can't come to your con unless you put me up some money because this is how I make my money.
Correct. Right. Yeah. And that's the
But I
mindset we have to have. Yeah.
people hate me. People hate me in the comic community for this topic. I'm like, yo, I need to eat too. I need to eat
Right.
too. People hate me on this shit. When I'm like, I really don't want to promote your book, or you know what is, I'd appreciate if you throw me, some money. You're doing 20K on a Kickstarter. You could give me $10 for this project.
Right. Right.
People hated me in January. They hated me because they hate people when they make money. That's the problem.
Right. You're right.
People hate seeing other people make money.
Yep.
It's so true. But I
Yeah.
digress. Again, you're not going to be the same. If every one of your cons cancels, we all know the reason why. We all know. We all know. It's
No, I don't. I think everything we said here is safe. I don't see we said anything crazy.
I don't think we said anything crazy either. I think what it is that I think that people just don't say it, and I think people
Right.
should. I
Yeah.
think we'd be a much healthier society if we were all honest.
Right.
We all like chocolate ice cream. We just don't want to admit it.
You're right. Yeah, if I let you know
We
up
we
front,
we,
you like,
we
go ahead.
what we said.
No, I was gonna say. I said I will let you know what you're getting. So, like I said, I may not be the biggest anime or whatever, but if you call me up, I'm going to put on the show because that's what you brought me on for. So
I just brought you on because I like your cosplays,
yeah,
and I thought you were pretty talented, and I thought you deserved
yeah.
an opportunity. That's really the only
Thank
reason why.
you.
I've also gotten away, and I'll be very upfront about this, where if somebody who had 1 million followers like, yo, can I come on your show? Of course, I would say yes. But I've also gotten away where at a certain point, I have discovered that with cosplayers in particular, they get to a certain point and then they have an attitude once they reach a certain number of followers. And I'm like, this isn't for me.
Right,
Like, you were here where I'm at. We've all been here, and let's be realistic on what you are. You work your
right,
ass up, but you're also really cute and you're attractive and you
right,
have a nice figure, which helped
right.
you along the ways, and you're blonde. You know,
Yeah,
all that stuff. And you started posting a lot of pictures of you in a bikini. Let's be realistic why you have your Instagram followers. Then I look at their engagement rate. I'm like, you have a 3% engagement. Like,
yeah.
the people who are following you are not necessarily your customers. And they're
Right.
there because they're doing something at night that they don't want to talk about when lights are
Yeah,
out. I don't think I'm wrong in that either. I mean,
yeah.
let's be realistic here, and there might be some girls doing it too. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm an equal offender. I'm an
Right.
equal offender. But people really like, pretty girls, for lack
Right.
of a better word. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that's how I view things, is pretty much.
Right.
And I completely lost my thought here. So
Well, I say with me, for some reason I'm losing followers. I don't know if it's bots, but I'm losing a whole bunch of them. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for the followers. I'm doing so. I would love to hit 10K, but because that opens doors to different companies. Like I said, it gets my name out there, and I don't care about having follow. I want the followers to turn in. I want it to mean something. Because there's some people that's happy with just having 1 million followers, but you don't do nothing with it. I mean,
that
no, I want to be able to do something with it.
this is interesting too, because I've had this discussions with a company, and I left it with the company, and I got frustrated with them. I said I had a sponsor, and I returned a lot of money to my sponsor. If you look at my followers and my following on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, it's not
Mhm.
big. The reason why I returned over 5 figures to that company, you know, a little above 10K to that company on significantly less, probably about 15 times less than what they gave me in a sponsorship, is because I had the right audience and the right customers. And so now I'm speaking to this company and they're like, oh, you're not big enough. We have an affiliate link. And what I was trying to explain to that company is saying, look, I don't work for an affiliate link and I
Right.
have your customer base. I'm interested in getting you sales, not exposure. And they said, well, we want exposure. And I said, I can't help you. My
Right.
goal is to get you sales.
Right.
And I think that's a problem. And I think you even go to that 10K level. I think that that's a misconception because with the program I have, I'm trying to figure out how to get a high commission affiliate link where I'm willing to
Mhm.
give somebody 25% of all sales they bring to my comic class.
Yeah.
The reason why is because if I'm selling it for $40, I mean 25% of 40 is $10. But guess what? If you bring me 1,000 customers, I can't. It's actually not that hard of math. But I'll give you 10K, no
Yeah.
questions asked. I'll write you a check for $10,000 if you brought me 1,000 customers. You're
Yeah.
bringing me. I'll get. I mean, I think I'll probably give you. Yeah, it is 10K, right? I
Mhm.
think right
You
because
said 25.
around that, whatever it is, I will
Yeah.
give pretty much. Actually, it's probably more. It's probably more like 25,000 now that I think about it. Because 1,000 times yeah, no. I think it is. I think it is 10K. Wow, I'm not good at math clearly,
Yeah.
but I'm interested in sales. Is the point?
Right.
Um, Me doing math is not good on this show. That's all I'm gonna say. But again, I believe in sales. I don't
Mhm.
believe in exposure. Exposure
Right.
doesn't mean anything.
Right. Right.
Exposure just is like a trophy. It's a participation trophy to me. That's all it
Yep.
is.
That's all. Right. Exactly.
It's the same thing when somebody says, "Man, I love your show." I say, "Cool. Do you watch it?" Nope. So you love my show, but you don't watch it.
Right.
Andrew, I want to be on your show, and I know you're going to sell me 10 books. I don't want to give you $1. I'm like, great. So you want that's like me. That's like saying, here's a cookie, Andrew, but you still got to pay to sit in the store to eat it.
Right.
But I
Right.
digress. I think that's the biggest problem, and I think a bunch of these companies are actually moronic
Yeah.
because I want sales. I don't care if you have one follower. If you get me 10,000 sales or $10,000 worth of sales, I'll give you a piece of the action. It's a no
Yeah.
brainer. But I want it. I want my money up front. I
Yeah.
don't want an affiliate link. Affiliate links don't get me excited. I don't
Right.
have a stake at that point. When
Right.
you give me money up front, we have a deal. We have a
Correct.
number of episodes, and my goal is that I feel inspired so that you want to renew again and again and again. And
Right.
affiliate links, like after 10 episodes, you're like, this isn't working, I'm out.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
digress. This is
You're
so
right.
far out of what all my questions were. That's why I stopped
That's,
looking at them.
yeah. I just like the conversation. It just. Yeah.
That's because nobody has these conversations anymore.
Right.
And it's whatever. I mean, this is why I like talking to smaller cosplayers who have less than 10,000
Mhm.
because they're out on the front lines. They're trying to figure out how to explode, get bigger, and they're trying to figure out how to get a piece of the pie. And what I find is that there's been people who have gone up. They had like 40,000, and they've now gone up to like 600,000. And I think that they have forgotten what it means to be a struggling cosplayer, not getting invited to a con. I've done
Right.
50 anime panels and comic panels, and I've never gotten an invitation anywhere. And I've been all over, and I've sold out rooms. And
Wow.
I think that some of these people have forgotten what that's like. And then they
Yeah.
come at and say, somebody asked me to do something for free or promote their product for free. And they think that because I'm in my own business, that I don't work hard and all this stuff. And nobody said you don't work hard. But let's be realistic. You got lucky too.
Right.
Because there's tons of people who work hard in life and they
Right.
have been ramrodded and they have been fucked over. And I just think that it's I don't want to say ungrateful, but I almost want to say like I think they're out of touch. And I don't think
Yeah.
you are. I think
No.
you're very much in touch and
Right.
understanding that this thing is not going to last forever. You need to figure out your next three moves or how to leverage A and B and C into something else.
Right. And that's why I say I try to stay dealing with the local charities. That's it. That's what keeps me grounded. I'm not getting paid for those. No, that they're just happy to see their character. So I even got asked to do when the Black Panther comes out. They want me to dress up as Black Panther at the movie theater, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not getting paid for that. Like I said, I'm doing it because I know who's going to show up, and they get to see their character. Because that's why I first did it, to see the kids' faces light up. Like, oh my
Well,
God,
you
he's
better get
here!
to see the movie for free at the very least.
Oh yeah, I get those, but yeah, like I said it's not even about that. Even
I
if I
was
don't,
joking. I was
no,
joking.
because there was actually a time where I actually didn't. I just left and when I was tired. I'm going home. Because like I said, it's just something about that watching their face light up. Mommy, look! It just I don't know. It does something for me. So, and then my kids keep calling me famous. I'm like, I am not famous. Such my 12-year-old. You're just famous. I know I'm not. But the simple fact that they feel that way, they're just that their dad, is in their eyes is somebody. And my 2-year-old keeps calling me a superhero. That's the stuff that matters to me. That's what I don't want to lose.
Yeah, no, I think that it's just real, and then this is why I like speaking to cosplayers who aren't at like the rule is that I really try to find people who are under 15,000
Yeah,
because I find that those people are grounded. They're also on the hunt. They're also more excited to be involved in this stuff, and they're also more interesting. To be very honest, and I think that
yeah,
they're figuring it out. And it always makes for a better conversation, to be very honest, because I
yeah,
think a lot of the time, like some of these top cosplayers, I think they've lost touch, and like I reach out to them, I'm like, hey, and sometimes they get back to me, sometimes they don't, and I'm like, but you were here too at one point, and have you forgotten where you come from? Like I know exactly where I come from. I'm
yeah,
not building my financial class to be altruistic, but I'm also not charging an arm and leg for it. It's $40 on Udemy for 18 to 22 hours of my time of
yeah,
me teaching you the basics of comic book investing. And I'm not interested in charging you $1,000 for it
yeah,
because I do believe you need to have skin in the game. But I can find you can scrape $40 if you really want to do this together.
yeah.
You can scrape $40 together. Anybody can if they really want to. It's not free, but $40 is not a lot of money in the scheme of things.
Right.
Even if you have a shitty job and you're making 40K a year and you're barely making it above the poverty line and you live in a shit
Yeah.
apartment, you can scrape $40 together
Right.
if you really want to do this. And if you really can and you shoot me a DM, there's a way that it can be worked out. If
Yeah.
you really can. And I'm pretty good at finding out who can and can't.
Yeah.
Um, but again, and also look, I'm gonna be offering a bunch of free promo stuff for like the first 3 months on it. I might show. Like I'm offering 50% off if you listen to my show
Okay.
to the end of the episode or the middle of the episode. I'm not gonna tell people where the code's gonna be,
Right.
but if you sit in Starbucks and you watch like 5 episodes of my show, you could probably get 50% off my class, everybody, for a while. And I'll do
Wow.
random sales all the time too.
Yeah.
So there you go. Again, and if you really can't afford it, there's a way that it can be worked out. So, but I digress. I just think that you're fascinating. Yeah, really. Because and you're just so like humble about it too, which is even cooler in my opinion. But I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I know it's not gonna last, so just enjoy the ride.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know what though? That's the thing, right? People who say and realize that something's not going to last, you use it as a stepping stone, which I think is what you're doing. And
Hmm.
then what you do is that you leverage that into something else, into something else, into something else. I mean, and what you hope for is that you did enough of something that it leads to something else that then that's more permanent or it's more stable
Right.
for a while, and you leverage that into something.
Right. And I tell people that if people who know me, I never go by myself. If you like really true, is really there for me, really trying to help me, I bring you with me. Like I said, if you're a photographer, oh yeah, I know this photographer. I bring up people's names all the time. I'm gonna start bringing up your name. I mean, because like I said, I love to see other people. I want to be able to say I helped that person reach their dream. That's it. And the people would never know unless you tell them. 'Cause I don't brag about it. And that if you don't say that, hey, Claude Xavier helped me, they will never know. But I just love to see people make it. that's I get the joy in that.
Yeah, no, I don't really like to brag about what I've done. There's been people who have gotten movie deals because they've been on this show and a director discovered who they
Mhm.
were with their comic, and then they wrote a screenplay, and it's gonna start filming soon, with real money and real investors. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not talking Hollywood money, but maybe like
Right.
50K
Yeah.
for an independent film. I mean, that's a lot of
That's
money.
pretty good. Yeah.
Some director saw my show and was like, "Let me reach out to that guy." And so it's just one of those things where you never know who's watching. And then it's
Right.
weird in my world too, because I get weird people on my show who are prominent. I mean, I don't know how much you watch of this show, but I had Pat Chan on. Pat Chan
Uh-huh.
is a great writer, and he had a Kickstarter that did over 100,000.
Okay.
And it's called Cheeky, and he has a Destiny New York going on right now, and that's going to do about 35,000 on Kickstarter. And he writes for Zenoscope, and you never know who's watching what, how it
Right.
relates to you, how it's engaging with you. I mean, he's the interview that was right before yours,
Yeah.
um, and so it's a very interesting world, man. You never know, and
Right.
there's been plenty of people who have gotten opportunities because of this show,
Yeah.
despite the viewership, because again, this show attracts a variety of interesting people and it
Right.
attracts a big audience in a weird way. Not no, it attracts a very diverse audience, not a big audience. A diverse audience is probably better. And it attracts prominent people because a lot of people who are in the industry and comics and cosplay and a variety of other people watch this show
Yeah.
because they realize that who the hell do you have on and how do you do it? But
Right.
anyway, not to brag. I
Right.
mean, if you go through the list, starting in 2020 to now, there's a variety of people who've been on this show, and no way in hell should I've had any of those people. And then the 7 years before that,
Yeah.
there's even more interesting people who were on this show, and every single interview is interesting, and you never know who's coming on. You never know.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. Been a crazy conversation.
Right.
Technically, we're supposed to talk about cosplay, which is what we did for a good chunk of it.
Yeah. Look.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I do like to talk about one more
Okay.
because knowing is half the battle. And
Oh, that was funny.
yes,
So
I
that was
have a fun
uh
fact about him. Do you
okay.
know what Cobra Commander's first original job was?
I do not.
What is a really bad job that nobody wants to do or everybody hates that person?
Oh my god. Bad.
I mean, nothing gross and
Right.
nothing
I'm
awful.
trying to think. There's someone. I think a janitor or a dumpster. I don't know. I don't.
So usually people hate a used car salesman, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a Cobra Commander's first job, an original job,
What?
was a used car salesman. Isn't that a fun fact?
You're right.
See, now when you're that good, now when you're doing that cosplay, you should just start incorporating that in there. And people are like, what are you talking about? Like, this is so weird. You're gonna come across a G.I. Joe fan, and the G.I. Joe fan's gonna be like, oh my god, you know.
Right. Yeah. That
One
was that
ring,
one.
unite them.
You guys.
One
That,
ring.
I mean, reason why I like that Snake Eyes. That was one of the ones I did mostly from scratch. Like I said, I was trying to learn how to do it, and so I started with that pattern.
I knew it was
I would,
Snake Eyes the entire time, but I wanted to bring up the
yeah,
Cobra
yeah, right,
Commander.
yeah, yeah, I knew that, right? Because I was so nervous that I actually put the patch upside down. Luckily, I was able to tear it off and put it back on. Yeah, you can't see it from that name, but I was like, oh, it's on backwards. I was like, I hope no one notices, and someone noticed, so I had to go back and take it off. And I was luckily I didn't tear up the shoulder armor, but
I'm a big GI Joe fan. In case you didn't know,
yeah,
but I need to get Larry Hama on, but that's a different discussion. A good friend of mine did not ruin that relationship.
okay.
I had a friend who lived in the same building as Larry Hama did
Oh wow.
in New York
Okay.
City. So
Yeah.
very cool. But I digress. I love GI Joe. I thought
Yeah.
the two GI Joe movies were great. I really did. I thought they were fantastic,
Yeah.
and I still think they're good. I think the first one was good. I think the
Yeah.
second one was even better than the first one.
Right. Yeah. I
But
agree.
I digress. I'm also biased. I don't know what's going to happen with GI Joe because I think GI Joe is leaving IDW and it's going to be very, very no. Maybe GI Joe is not leaving, but I know that Transformers is, and GI Joe might be as well. Um,
Okay.
but I love GI Joe. I
Yeah.
think GI Joe is great. But
Right.
anyhow, enough about that. Obviously, we spoke about a lot of stuff. I do want to ask you one more question, and we kind of touched upon it before I give you a chance to self promote. Where do you think cons are going, and cosplay in particular at cons are going? Because I haven't been to a con in almost 3 years, so I
Yeah.
am very out of the loop. I don't know where that's going. I don't know how if it's come back or if it's somewhat in the middle with the popularity,
Right.
or if it depends on the con.
Yeah, it does. I didn't really do many this year. Um, because I've been like focused on trying to make the voice acting thing happen. As far as in my opinion, to me, it's trying to come back. When I did MegaCon in 2021, they actually had a big in Florida. They actually had a big turnout. So after COVID, they opened back up. Even at half capacity, they still had a bunch of people. So I think people are going back to them. They are starting to pick up, but like you said, the recession, and also depend on
Because New York Comic Con's happening, I think they're requiring like N95 masks for
Oh,
for a
really?
good reason. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Anime NYC had a COVID outbreak
yeah,
in the same con, so that's why I asked because I don't know how all of this plays out.
yeah. Because I thought, yes, I know when we had to wear masks at some of them, I know it did affect it because some people just didn't want to wear them, and now most of them are relaxing those rules. Um, I think it go back to what you said. It really depends on the celebrities if they're going to show up. At the end of the day, that they are the true bread and butter. So as long as they keep coming, and also the quality of actors they bring. I know someone was complaining lately because they wasn't too because like some of the same cons kept bringing the same actors back, and some people didn't like that. Um, but as far as the normal person just wants to go and have fun, that's always going to be there. So right now, I think they're in good shape. We'll see how this economy keeps going. But like I said, I believe that could play a part in it. But for right now, a lot of people are still going. It really didn't skip a beat from what I can see.
Yeah, no, I haven't been to a con. A lot of reasons why. And in particular, obviously, I'm letting the COVID thing, I'm letting it settle down, and I
Yeah.
relocated, so I am not
Okay.
familiar with my cons in my area.
Yeah.
And when you start a new job 4 weeks in, you don't go to a con. Okay? You make sure
Right.
you're stable at your job first.
Right.
It's called being an adult.
Correct.
If I was 21, I would have a different attitude, and I'm 29 now, so I'm a little bit
Right.
more of an adult. I have what is
Right.
called wisdom now.
Exactly.
I was smart when I was 21. I just
Right.
didn't have any wisdom. I now am smart with wisdom, which makes me a
Right.
danger to society. Um,
Right.
but I digress. Now that all of a sudden somebody's gonna see this, like a police officer is gonna see this, and then he's gonna pull you over. He's gonna be, you're that guy who said he's a danger to society. Okay, they're just gonna run my tags, and they're gonna like get like their trigger. Oh, it's gonna be. And then they're gonna be like, by the way, sir, you know what day it is? I'm like, no, I don't. It's April Fool's. And they're just gonna let me go. It's gonna be
Right.
great. It's gonna be great. This is exactly how it's gonna happen. I'm telling you. But anyway, enough of me incriminating myself here. Um, clearly, because that's what we do on this show. And I might have just brought you into a conspiracy theory. So
Oh Lord. Now we
committing
get
a conspiracy. Sorry, I apologize. You're now a guilty party with me.
right.
But I do
Definitely
want
my
to give you
job is
a
watching.
chance. I do want to give you a chance to self promote yourself.
Okay.
So where can people find you, bother you, support you, find you on social media, your next con,
Okay.
audio books that you worked on,
Yeah.
modeling that you've done, your website, all that fun stuff. Because I think I include some of it up above
Yeah.
or down
Yep.
below to the side.
Yeah. So yeah, my website is claudexavierstyle.com to make it easier. My Instagram is Claude Xavier Style, Facebook is Claude Xavier Style, everything is Claude Xavier Style. Easy way to find me. Like I said, I have done 3 audiobooks. They were documentaries, called dealing with the history of hip hop up under Claude Xavier. They can be found on all your streaming, your Audible, wherever you read your audiobooks. It'll be found there. Um, right now, I don't have too much going on in the cosplay convention this year. I think it might be just maybe the end of that for this year. I'm trying to work on new costumes. Like I said, trying to push voice acting, working on several independent roles, trying to get that going in the film. I may have something lined up next year. I can't say it yet, but I'll be going to the West Coast if that still happens next year. Yeah, that's it. Just Claude Xavier Style, Instagram, Facebook, ClaudeXavierStyle.com website. Come see me, support me. I'll support you back. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna keep saying it, and I've been saying it for a while, almost 3 years, and I keep saying it. You have to support indie content creators and content creators in
Mhm.
general. And what that means is that following somebody on social media is a must. It's not a request anymore.
Right,
If you like somebody or you like what they're doing, follow them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff matters. And it goes a long way and actually engaging with them. But even going beyond that, if
yeah,
somebody has merch or they gotta buy me a coffee or they got a PayPal link or a Cash App link, um, or they got a Patreon or an OnlyFans or whatever they got, um, or they got a donation button on their website. If you like what they're doing and you want to see more of it, the answer is really easy. Throw them $5 every once in a while. It goes a
yeah,
long way. It goes a long way. And again, if everybody throws $5, all of a sudden what starts happening is that a bunch of little small $5 becomes a hell of a lot more than $5. You
right,
know, if you have 1,000 people giving $1, it's $1,000. And while in just that one person doesn't make a big impact, collectively it does.
right.
And so that's something that people I feel have to really do and have to really start understanding is that if you like something and you want to see more of it, put your money where your
Yeah,
mouth is. It makes a
right,
big difference. And again, it doesn't have to be like $100. It can be $1. But if you have 1,000 fans who give you $1 every single month, I
yeah,
guarantee you that that's 12K. That's
right,
12K, everybody. And $12,000 can make a lot of cosplays. It
right.
really can. It really can. So I do recommend that people at least follow, if not throw money. If you have that up, and if you don't have that up, you're gonna go create Buy Me a Coffee right after we get done here. Um,
Right,
but again, it's very important because we're at the stage in society where supporting and following people on social media, it's partially enough. But if you really like somebody and you want to see more of it, you got to put your money where your mouth is. Um,
right,
but about me, and I'm going to promote myself really quickly. Obviously, I have Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate when people throw me money. It's not a necessity. But again, running a show, it's a lot of work. It's tiring. And I appreciate when people throw me $5 or even throw me $1. Makes a difference. It's nice when I get that little email. It really is.
hmm,
Because what it says to me is say, hey, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you do. I get it. And I really appreciate your show. And whether you're on the show, you want to be on the show, or you're just a fan and you just like independent media, because that's what I am, and you want to see more of it. And that's the key right there is that it's if you want to see more of it or you want to see it continue or you want to see even more content, well, the more money I have, the further I can go. But if you don't like the show and you like Disney, go support Disney. I'm not
right,
anti Disney. And the reason why I say that, or if you like a comic book, you like an audio book, you like, wrestling, whatever you like, you should be out there supporting. Um, because if you don't support it and then it disappears, don't come bitching to me.
right, right,
Because there you go. And that's the thing too. So if this show doesn't, continue after 6 seasons or whatever, however long I go, and there's not support, I'm okay with that because I'm a free market guy. But if you like it and then you're like, hey Andrew, how come the show disappeared and it's 2 years later? Well, you know the answer. Um, I also have my comic book class coming October 25th, around that time. I am thinking end of October is ideal. It's going to be a blast. I'm stoked for it. Again, it's going to be about $40 on Udemy. Really cool. 18 to 22 hours. So if you want to learn the basics of comic book investing, I cannot wait for that. and it's going to be a blast. And if you seriously can't afford it, there's something we could work out. We could work out a price point that you can afford. And so that's the whole thing right there. So that's where I'm at with that. But I'm going to be giving a bunch of discount codes for like the first 3 months, like 50% off in certain Facebook groups, obviously on this show. So you might want to subscribe to this show. In the meanwhile, YouTube, Facebook, wherever else you're going to watch it, big deal. Also going to drop it on social media, a bunch of promo codes. So follow me on social media at Pop Anime Comics on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, unless I owe you money. And if that's the case, I'm going to quietly leave as if I broke something in a store. Everyone's going to go. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
Let's say thank you for inviting me out to even go to a different audience, just to talk, just to chop it up. Like I said, everything has always had to be about cosplay. Just hey, it just feels good just to
It's
get
only
away
about
from even
cosplay.
that.
It's only about cosplay. All about cosplay, guys.
Yeah, so
Everything
yeah.
else is nothing.
Yeah, I learned some new things, and I see it. I need to sign up for a class myself with comic books. So hey, you got another person. But yeah, I just thank you for the opportunity for, like you said, exposure. It does at this point. To me, it does mean something. And I'm thankful for it, and I always pay it forward and pay it backwards. So I say, if I go forward, people's there, I bring them with me. Yeah, we're all in this together.
Well, I don't think I could have said that any better myself. And so that is a wrap, everybody.